Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss a shocking development that has sent ripples across Russia and beyond. St. Petersburg, Russia's second-largest city, and a symbol of its cultural and industrial pride, has come under a massive Ukrainian strike. The attack has sparked fires, chaos, and raised new questions about Moscow's ability to defend its own heartland. This moment marks a turning point, not only in the war, but also in the psychology of Russian citizens who never imagined that such a strike could reach one of their most important cities. The Ukrainian strike was not just another battlefield operation, but a carefully planned and executed blow deep inside Russian territory. The sheer fact that Ukraine was able to bypass Russian air defenses and land such a heavy strike in St. Petersburg speaks volumes about the growing weaknesses of Moscow's security shield. For months, Russia has boasted about its advanced defense systems, from the S-400 to layered radar coverage. Yet the fire and smoke rising from St. Petersburg tells another story. It shows that these defenses are not impenetrable and that Ukraine has managed to adapt its strategies to break through them. Reports suggest that the strike targeted both industrial and logistical sites in the city. St. Petersburg is not just a symbolic target. It is home to shipyards, defense factories, and major supply hubs critical to Russia's war machine. By striking here, Ukraine has not only hit morale, but also the very infrastructure Russia relies on to sustain its military operations. The fires that burned for hours are a direct blow to Moscow's sense of security and highlight how vulnerable its northern regions have become. For Russian citizens, this is something new and terrifying. Many had believed the war was far away, confined to Ukrainian cities or the front lines in Donbass. But now the war has come home, right into the streets of St. Petersburg. This will undoubtedly shake public opinion, create panic, and raise difficult questions for the Kremlin. How could one of Russia's most defended cities be struck so hard? And what does this mean for other cities like Moscow? The idea that Ukraine could carry out such an operation exposes cracks in the very narrative that Putin has sold to his people, that Russia is strong, secure, and unshakable. Ukraine's success here is not just military, but psychological. By hitting St. Petersburg, Kyiv has shown that nowhere is untouchable. This kind of strike sends a powerful message to both Russian citizens and the wider world. It demonstrates that Ukraine has the capability, intelligence, and technology to reach far into Russia. It also boosts the morale of Ukrainians, proving that despite the hardships of war, they can hit back where it hurts the most. The Kremlin's reaction has been predictable but unconvincing. Officials rushed to downplay the damage, claiming that most of the incoming strikes were intercepted and that the fires were contained. But the images circulating online tell a very different story. Large plumes of smoke, destroyed warehouses, and panicked residents make it impossible to deny that this was a major success for Ukraine. Russia's information war might try to hide the reality, but the truth has already spread. This attack also highlights the failure of Russia's vaunted air defense systems. For years, Moscow has presented the S-400 and other systems as world-class, capable of stopping any missile or drone. Yet in practice, Ukraine has repeatedly managed to penetrate these defenses. This raises serious doubts not only for Russia's domestic security, but also for the countries that have purchased or considered purchasing Russian defense systems. If they cannot even defend St. Petersburg, what does that say about their reliability elsewhere? The timing of this strike is equally important. Ukraine has been under immense pressure, facing brutal Russian offensives across multiple fronts. Supplies have been stretched thin, and the world has wondered whether Kyiv could maintain its momentum. This operation proves that Ukraine still has the initiative and the ability to surprise its enemy. It also sends a signal to Western allies that their support is being used effectively and that Ukraine can strike strategic blows, not just hold defensive lines. From a strategic perspective, St. Petersburg is a jewel in Russia's crown. It is not only a cultural capital, but also a major economic hub. Damaging its infrastructure puts pressure on the Russian economy at a time when sanctions are already biting hard. Every fire, every destroyed facility means longer recovery times, higher costs, and more stress on a system already stretched by war. For the Russian leadership, this creates a nightmare scenario where their rear bases are no longer safe. There is also the international reaction to consider. Strikes this deep inside Russia bring the war into a new dimension. Western countries will watch closely to see how Moscow responds. Will Putin escalate further, perhaps with more strikes on Ukrainian cities? Or will this event expose the limits of Russia's reach? Already, NATO members are analyzing the situation, noting how vulnerable Russia appears despite its aggressive posturing. For nations bordering Russia, the sight of Ukrainian strikes on St. Petersburg offers both reassurance and warning. Reassurance that Russia is not as invincible as it claims, and warning that instability inside Russia could have unpredictable consequences. For Ukrainians, this strike is more than just retaliation. It is proof of resilience. After months of enduring missile barrages, power outages, and destruction in their own cities, seeing St. Petersburg burn sends a wave of hope across Ukraine. It tells them that they can hit back, that they are not just victims, but also capable of inflicting real pain on their aggressor. This psychological lift is invaluable as the war drags on. Meanwhile, inside Russia, dissent may quietly grow. Ordinary citizens who once believed the Kremlin's propaganda may now question everything. If the state cannot defend one of its most important cities, can it truly protect anyone? The seeds of doubt could spread, especially as more strikes reach deeper into Russian territory. While open protest remains dangerous, silent anger and disillusionment can weaken the foundations of support for Putin's war. The strike on St. Petersburg also signals a dangerous future. If Ukraine can repeatedly carry out such attacks, Russia will be forced to stretch its defenses even thinner, pulling resources away from the front lines. This could shift the balance of power on the battlefield. Every missile, every drone used to protect the rear is one less on the offensive. Over time, this could bleed Russia's war effort dry. Looking ahead, this attack will not be the last. Ukraine has made it clear that it will continue to target strategic sites inside Russia as long as the invasion continues. Each strike raises the stakes. Each one undermines the Kremlin's narrative of control. The war is no longer confined to Ukrainian soil. It has leapt across borders and is now burning inside Russia's own cities. In the end, the burning of St. Petersburg is more than just a single event. It is a symbol of Russia's faltering grip on this war. It is a message to the world that Ukraine is not backing down and that even the mightiest cities of Russia are vulnerable. For Putin, it is a humiliation that cannot easily be hidden. For the Russian people, it is a shocking reality check. And for Ukraine, it is a powerful reminder that their struggle is not in vain. This strike marks a turning point, but it also raises the risk of further escalation. How Russia responds could shape the next phase of this conflict. One thing is certain: the war has entered a new and unpredictable chapter, and the flames of St. Petersburg will not be easily forgotten.